Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your September reading. Hope you're doing amazing. I am doing great. So, we're going to jump right in. Let's talk about your cards first. So, we have student, humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. We have forgiveness, hurt blocks your light, attachment and elder, conflict, spirit of fire, and yin yang smudging ceremony. I see release here. Okay. And that's a general roundabout thing. We're going to get more specific. But this is sometimes we can hold on to hurt or pain or things that people have done to us and sort of generalize that event and reflect that onto other people and other situations that we're in, or even that person. Not realizing that people can change, situations can change. Okay, so I feel like September is teaching you, not teaching you, you're more learning on your own that forgiveness is a blessing, right? It's a skill to be learned, and it's a blessing to give, to have, and to receive. And you're learning how to sort of let things go, and enjoy people and situations for what they are, sort of like in the present moment. So yeah, I see that you've done this to keep yourself protected. Nothing negative here, right? To keep yourself protected, to make sure that you don't get yourself in situations that you could have avoided, obviously. Um, the problem is sometimes there comes a moment where you may need that person, like need to interact with them. Um, you may feel like giving somebody a second chance. You may be in a new situation where you have to open up to a person, so you have to release these hurts. It's something that you need to do for yourself in some way. So you're learning how to not forget, okay, but let go and move on. All right. So let's get into those cards. Okay, Gemini. All right, we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Moon, King of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, the Tower, Five of Swords, Eight of Wands, Three of Wands, and the Magician. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Wands, Ten of Wands, and the Hangman. Yeah, what this talks about is you being confident in the assumptions that you have made in the past. That's fine, you know? It's like you've been through enough to see how things are going to work out, that you are positive that you know what the outcome is going to be, and that's perfectly fine. But you're seeing that holding on to those ideals are starting to create a more heaviness, that you don't really need anymore. Like it's making things more complicated than it should be. So it's like hold on to those ideals or assumptions right now and see how it's working out at the moment. So let's say that you have a sibling that has not been the best to you, right? but it's like hold for a second in this moment in September and see if the situation has changed or that person has changed. It's not saying let your guard down and let them like destroy you by any means, right? But it's like take a moment to reassess how you felt about someone or something that you haven't been giving leadway to, okay, or flexibility to. So in the center we have the tower. The tower does talk about change. It talks about big change, right? So this is like a change in ideals, a change in thoughts, a change in the way we perceive things. Like this is like change. Sorry, I'm dropping cards. um and that change is here to release some of those burdens that we have sort of created on our own just through experiences, okay? It's not like things that you have made up in your mind and you're just like, well, this is true because I feel it. This is like through experience, you have created these tactics to keep yourself safe. So it's just reevaluating them to what is currently present in your life or available to you. Yeah, they definitely have kept you safe. They definitely have kept you. They're like your go-to toolbox actions. Okay, this is the way to say it. Um, yeah. So, you, like everyone else, it seems like are going through a phase in September. I call it a phase. It's like a journey, I guess, of supporting yourself and doing what's best for you. And now we're in the phase for you of reassessing ideals and tactics and tools that you have been using and if they're currently effective to you now, right? Like, are they nurturing to you? Are they helpful to you? You need to know that your journey forward in life and the goals that you have set are not changing. You're still on that path, right? But this is a way to make it easier. This is a way to make it easier, to make it smoother, to make life more palatable, I guess is the word to use. So you know that you have the power to control your environment, right? That's like it, that's in your wheelhouse. So in your wheelhouse, you have decided to block someone out or not talk to someone or just kind of maybe like act like they don't exist or don't take their words for anything, you know. Um, but I feel like this is a moment where you need to open up to that person or open up to someone that you may have blocked off or kind of written off. Yeah. Um, Sometimes we can have over control, and that's what I feel like you're taking over control of scenarios to make sure negativity or like the most too much gets into your energy and affects you in a way where you have to deal with it later, you know. It's your way of sort of protecting yourself or putting up boundaries, I'm feeling. Okay. But doing that, sometimes we can get too good at it and start blocking out blessings and paths that we're supposed to now be on. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. In working with yourself, keeping yourself protected, keeping your money protected, keeping your life protected, putting up boundaries because you felt like, and you knew at the time that it was best for you. This is what you needed to do. This was the path you were on at this moment when you made these decisions, right? I can see that by working really hard and dedicating yourself to that path, there are some things that you may have missed. Okay. Um, like there's some parts, like sometimes you could be overconfident in what you believe or prideful in what you're believing or what you're doing, that you kind of miss things that you should be working on or things that you should focus on or pay attention to at the moment. And there's something about lack of emotion. Someone's talking to you about lack of emotion or lack of care or lack of compassion, something like that. Like somebody's bringing up to you an emotional distance, or you could be feeling an emotional distance as well from other people because you're trying to keep yourself safe or because you're trying to have boundaries, that you're seeing that maybe people aren't as close to you as before, you don't have as many close friends or things like that. So I feel like you get into some deep thought in September about what that means and how that makes you feel. You're going to come to a conclusion that it has to do with the way you're executing your thoughts. So, the way that you're executing what has happened to you in the past, how you're approaching old people, new people, hurts, how traumas have affected you, all those types of things, and how you want your life to look now based on how it's looking. Okay. And I see here that you've decided that there needs to be change. But what's interesting is, Gemini, I feel like you need something to go off of. Like you need that moral compass or idea to go off of. Like, this is what I'm basing it on. You're just not pulling things out of the sky as the time comes. Um, but that's what you're going to have to do. It's like you have to get more in touch with your surroundings, with the environment, with your intuition, with other people, like to take a risk sometimes when you need to and not sort of attached to some sort of blueprint or just one specific way to do things. But it makes you feel like out of control, right? It makes you feel out of control, but you also know, or you're also starting to see by the events that that's the step that you're going to have to do to sort of like move forward or advance in where you are. So I feel like the goal for you, Gemini, in September is taking control, of your path and how things are going. And sometimes you have to integrate new ideas, right? Like a new proposal, a new um a new way of viewing relationships, a new way of approaching things, where you have to sort of open your heart or kind of flirt with the idea. And that's why I say like new thing, because you're like flirting with the idea of opening up or experiencing something. Um, I see that there's a battle with defending, protecting yourself, putting up boundaries, fear of like vulnerability of being hurt or let down as well. But it's like you need that vulnerability or you need that openness to grow the relationship or the situation. So it's a catch 22 in that way. It's a double edged sword. Um, but you have the power. The key is here that you have the power to make that happen. You have the power to do it, right? It's whether or not you do it, really. Okay. Okay. This feels like a work thing and less about money in this area. Um so Gemini, it feels like at work you do like a certain task. Like every day is relatively the same. Not saying that you don't have like small like customer issues or things to like deal with, right? But I feel like it's relatively the same. You know, it kind of gives me the mind of like something, ooh, itchy. Something like data entry or something. Well, things are relatively the same. Okay. Um so I feel like you don't want to rock the boat. The idea is to just do what you normally do and not try to integrate anything new, I guess, you know. But you feel like in a certain situation, you have the answer that's out of the box. And it feels like you're afraid to take the lead on it, but that's the answer to the issue. Like it will resolve a lot of problems or the problem. Interesting. Yeah. And I see in your communication area that you don't want to ruffle feathers here. Because I feel like when you really get into something, you can get really like not intense about it, but it seems like it always creates some sort of like argument or dispute or back and forth. It's never like smooth. Um, Maybe it's the way you say it. Because I almost feel like people think it's the way you say things, but you're just saying it sort of like straightforward as is, and people need a little bit of a buffer. Um, yeah. But it's like, I need to say this. I need to say these things. I need to speak my mind. But if I speak my mind, it's going to cause an issue. But for September, that's what's interesting. For September, it's like maybe just hold off on it, right? And see if it doesn't resolve itself first before you feel the need to speak up on it. Okay. Um but I do see that you're doing something. You're making some changes in your own life that's causing like a weight to be lifted off of you. It's not comfortable, it's not what you want to do, but these actions are lifting a weight off of like your soul. Okay? So you can feel more confident in the choices and actions that you are going to make in the future. For relationships, we got a little crowded space here. Um I see you working on relationships, what they are, partnerships in September mostly. Okay. So You're kind of a lone wolf in a long way, in a way here. Um, there's something about you convincing yourself that you don't really need other people's love or approval, okay? And using facts to back that up. You know, like, I don't really need this, or I don't really need this, or I don't really care if this person does this, whatever. Um, and really, when you get down to it, it's just you like trying to keep the peace, really. It's like you just want peace in your life. So you're like, this is how it is, that I'm going to just sort of like not accept it. Yeah, accept it. And like, this is how this person is, and this is it, you know. Um, like, I won't let them do this because they always do this, that type of thing. So somehow you're seeing that generalizing someone or generalizing something that happens is not necessarily the best choice. It's not necessarily true every time. So before you make snap judgments, it's like take a moment to breathe and watch before you do that, before you make that assumption. Okay, so impartiality and mysticism wanted to come out together. Okay, so this is clearly what I just said. So this must be really important because these are spirit messages. This is being impartial, throwing up the shruggy shoulders like, oh, well, this is how it always is. Accepting that or expecting that to always happen takes away the probability of something different happening, because you're just assuming that that's what's going to happen. You're assuming this person's going to do it. You're assuming it's always going to be this way. You take out the full energy, you know? You take out the hope, you take out the chances, you take out the ability for new beginnings, right? So release and recovery. Yeah. This is like releasing the past, right? Take away, allow yourself to be inspired. Allow yourself to believe. Allow yourself to have faith in something. Allow yourself to release, right? And you'll see a lot of changes in how you think, your intuition, how you feel in your spirit because of that. Okay? All right. I love you, Gemini. Talk to you later. Bye bye.